is allowing all of these entities that support this to provide streaming stuff going on the internet. Now, the internet, let's go back. Internet started with a concept of local-to-local connections across the country. You could go for Air Alaska, but you had to go through local connections to get there. The industry wisely provided for streaming for, in effect, a new kind of long distance, and that's what we've got. We've got a service that's immune to distance, and it's there for the consumer. But when we take and really indicate that anyone that wants to use this system for massive commercial purposes. Well, there's one company now. You can sign up and you can get a movie delivered to your house daily by subscription by delivery service. Okay, and currently it comes to your house. You put it in the mailbox when you get home, and annually or monthly you change your order. But you pay for that, right? This service is now going to go through the internet, and what you do is you just go to a place on the internet, and you order your movie, and guess what? You can order 10 of them, and it's delivered to you, and this delivery charge is free, right? 10 movies streaming across that internet, and what happens to your own personal internet? I just the other day got internet was sent by my staff at 10 o'clock in the morning on Friday. I got it yesterday. Why? Because it got tangled up with all of these things that are going on the internet commercially. And here we have this one situation where enormous entities want to use the internet for their purpose to save money for doing what they're doing now. They use FedEx. They use the delivery services. They use the mail. They deliver in other ways, but they want to deliver vast amounts of information over the internet. And again, the internet is not something that you just dump something on. It's not a big truck. It's a series of tubes. And if you don't understand, those tubes can be filled. And if they're filled, when you put your message in, it gets in line. It's going to be delayed by anyone that puts into that tube enormous amounts of material.
How should we do this, Blake? We've got 4 movies, and we want to talk about all of them. And they take place at different times in their respective timelines.
Yeah, I don't really give a crap about the timeline.
Sure, who cares?
Whatever.
Fuck
who
that.
Cares? I don't see a world in which if we just wing it, we don't talk about all 4.
Yeah.
I don't see a world in which that's gonna happen.
I have some notes scribbled down for each one.
And that's what I assumed, is that you're the note taker. I trust that you'll lead us.
Okay.
I'm the wild card here. I mean, we just got done talking about Christian music for an hour and a half. So.
Okay. I'm going to start by introducing Alien³ So the last... Yeah. Oh, by the way, we've been talking about the Alien movies. We've covered Alien 1.
I thought you were talking about the rest of the episode. Welcome back. We've been talking about the Alien movies.
No. Oh,
which would be a typical bullshit that Scott Aukerman and Adam Scott would do on their YouTube podcast, as they would talk about nothing related to U2, and they'd come back from a commercial. And welcome back. We've been talking about U2's album.
Yeah. Make sure to put that at a commercial break. Yeah, for sure. No, with our series, so we did one episode on Alien. We did another episode on Aliens, which is terrible. Not Not our episode. Our episode was good. The movie is terrible. And today we're going to talk about. We're going to go so ambitious. We're going to try to talk about 4 movies at once.
Yeah. The rest of the franchise sans Romulus, because neither one of us has seen it at this moment.
Yeah,
and we're planning on seeing it and doing an episode on it somehow at some point.
That's true. Yeah.
To finish this series off.
Although the listeners probably won't hear that episode until after Halloween.
Yes, more than likely.
Yeah. So,
unless we get really ambitious, which is just not our style most of the time.
So let's just get into it with, like, which one was your favorite of these 4?
3.
Alien 3.
By a stretch.
Yes. I also will agree with you there.
Yeah.
And I think
with a small caveat that it has to be the assembly or the special edition version of it.
So
not the theatrical cut.
Just to let people know, it actually took me a while to track down the assembly cut, because there are 3 versions. There is the theatrical cut, there's the assembly cut, and then there's something called the special edition.
Yeah.
These are all 3 different versions. However, I don't believe you can find the special edition cut anymore. But if you go looking,
the special edition now.
But if you go looking for the assembly cut, you will find something called special edition.
Yeah.
And it is actually the assembly cut. If you're not following that, just go onto Wikipedia and look at the different cuts available for this movie. You'll see 3 different ones: theatrical, assembly, special edition. Note their times, and then whatever you're about to watch, make sure the time matches up with that. And that's what I had to do. So, so that's how I was able to verify that what I was about to watch was in fact the assembly cut. I can't verify your statement about whether Alien 3 is bad with the theatrical cut, because it's been a while since I've seen it. Do you think it's still...
I wouldn't say it's bad.
Okay.
I just think that there's a lot of holes in the theatrical cut that are properly answered in the assembly cut.
Okay. The assembly cut is also like 24 minutes longer, right? So
like you learn more about how certain elements of the narrative happened and what happened to certain characters and why they randomly show up or whatever. It's been a while since I've watched the theatrical version, because I never really choose to watch that version if I don't have to. So I don't remember everything, but I do know that, like, for instance, Golic, there's this weird, like, he's kind of just left in the infirmary in the theatrical cut, and you never know what happens with him afterwards. Whereas they fill out that story a lot more in the assembly cut. And so, I don't remember who said this, and I don't remember what my source was, but I swear that the first time I watched this version of Alien 3, someone had described it as the name of the rose in space.
Yeah, I've never seen The Name of the Rose. You dropped that for me? No.
I haven't read it either. I have seen the movie though.
Yeah. But that movie's about priests. Monks. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a murder mystery in an abbey, basically.
Okay. And it has Sean Connery.
But the guy who wrote it, it has Sean Connery and Christian Slater. But the guy who wrote the actual book is a semiotician, so he deals in, like, words, linguistics, how he's also he was he would probably call himself a recovering Catholic. He very much rejected religion later in his life, but he wrote this. I think this was his first novel, Name of the Rose. But I haven't read the novel. I just know that like there's a lot more going on in that novel than what the movie showcases, because the movie basically just follows the murder mystery. But he's digging into like how sources are like transcribed from one time to another, and like how that plays into the mystery itself and all this. Like there's a lot of like complexity in the novel that you would not know about from the movie. But that's a side note. Basically, the thing that would tie Name of the Rose to Alien 3 was monks in space.
Monks in space, yeah.
Yeah, that's really it. Because I'm not sure. There's not really a murder mystery. There's no mystery. It's
there. It's mysterious for some of them for a little bit.
Oh, yeah,
right?
Yeah. It's mysterious to them, but to the person watching, if you went into Alien 3 not knowing
what Alien is, yeah,
who's murdering these people, then something's wrong. So
let's maybe get into it a little bit. So we had Alien 1 and Alien 2, and I feel like Alien 3...
We never had Alien 2. We had Aliens.
We had Aliens. Sorry, yeah. And I feel like Alien 3 really... David Fincher is trying to do something distinct here, right? It's something we haven't seen in the previous ones, but it's also returned to something a little more serious, whereas Aliens just kicks the door open and makes it a dumb action flick and just embraces that.
Yeah.
For the worst. But Alien 3 kind of brings it back, and you mentioned, monks in space. This is by far the most religious Alien movie.
Oh, yes. By far.
By far. I think 10 minutes in, I texted you and I said, it looks like David Fincher was binge watching Tarkovsky movies. And that was how it felt to me, because everybody's bald, and that goes to your monks connection too. Everybody looks like they're about to go into the zone in Stalker. They look sad and kind of Russian, even though they're all British. And it just has this overwhelming sense of seclusion, and and there's this almost cult like religiosity going on there, but it doesn't seem harmful, because these men there don't really have any reason to keep going except for religion, because they're prisoners.
They stayed behind because of their religion.
Yeah, they're prisoners, but they're not even like given work to do. They're just mostly forgotten,
Yeah. They do some mining, but that's about it.
But even that, does anyone get the stuff they mine and take it from them?
No, probably not.
Yeah. And I just think that this is such like an interesting setting for an Alien movie. David Fincher.
I can understand why someone might go into this movie and be like, what are the fucking stakes then?
Yeah.
Because these people are forgotten. They don't, quote unquote, matter. if they disappear, and no one's gonna know it. So why should I care? But I would say you're missing the fucking point.
Well, I will say, there is the Ripley through line, which is like, what's going to happen to Ripley? And
Yeah.
this movie does get the honor of kind of concluding that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we'll get into Resurrection
Oh
and
yeah, yeah.
how
We will.
that's not really a conclusion on this, but
And how they had to
whatever.
pay her bucket loads to get her to come back.
They had to resurrect her into the franchise. But yeah, so I think the religiousness of the movie kind of strikes me initially, and
And it's
you
not
know,
cheap religiousness either. It's not platitudes.
no,
And
no,
it's not
these
even
are
weird like culty shit. Like it's almost like someone wrote the script, whoever wrote the script for this particular version, like was well acquainted with like the Book of Common Prayer.
yeah, no, it really does feel like they were like, okay, what it what would a monastery look like if it was a prison in space, like on another planet?
Mm-hmm.
And
With a bunch of
and I
pedophiles and rapists. Yeah.
sure, which is, very, very fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it's surprising to me that this was David Fincher's first movie when I think
Yeah.
about that aspect of it, because I don't get religious vibes from, I
Mm-hmm.
don't know about you, but I would say David Fincher is one of the most agnostic, if not
Oh,
atheistic. And
yeah.
he's great. Like, I think he's got loads of talent, and I've liked a lot of his movies. So I'm not saying this one's better or worse than some of his later
I think
stuff, but
perhaps maybe a more accurate way to put it is religion is just not something he focuses on.
yeah. So I don't know if it was like idealistic Fincher,
Yeah.
young and starry eyed.
Well, and
Um,
he's young. He's just coming off a bunch of music videos, which is where he got
sure.
to start. And more than likely, he was. I mean, I can speculate that he was given this opportunity, and he's like, "Okay, I'm just gonna go for it." Like he probably didn't
Fuck
have a
yeah.
whole lot of choice in what the subject matter was gonna be per se.
Hmm.
He was more concerned with the look and the composition of the movie itself. Um, I mean, he famously refuses to talk about this movie. So
Yeah. He doesn't like this movie, even though, if we're talking about the look, I think
it's Finchian. It's
it's very Finchian. So, and that's actually great. I think the
yeah,
look of this movie really, really works. In
and the
fact,
detail involved in it works, which is Finch's signature element.
yeah,
So
and there are a couple details I will complain about,
oh
and
yeah,
I'll
yeah,
get to them in a
yeah.
second. But I think overall, like, especially like the set detail, it, it trumps Aliens. Like, I I don't know if we talked about this, but everything in Aliens looks fake and
Mm-hmm.
bad, and the overall setting, the set design, everything about this, the lighting is so much of an improvement on the previous one. So
It's almost like he knocked on the door of the last Nine Inch Nails video and was like, "Hey guys, can we use your set for
yeah,
this movie we're making?"
absolutely. Um, I also think, speaking of look, I think this has probably the most iconic Ripley out of
Oh yeah,
all. Out of
yeah.
all. Shaved head Ripley, like
Mm-hmm.
G.I. Jane Ripley.
With
Yeah.
the with especially the photo of the xenomorph with the head coming out of the mouth and her face
Mm-hmm.
up against the wall. Like
Mm-hmm.
I, for the longest time, thought that was probably that was in the first or the second. I can't remember which. And it was
Mm-hmm.
no, it's in the third. It's
It.
one of the most iconic scenes in any movie of
Mm-hmm.
the franchise.
Yeah.
And I will say that people are right to deride the special effects of the alien in this movie. It's not good.
Yes.
It's not good. But it does not take away from the movie for me. Like I'm like, yes, it's very much CGI. It's very like kind of seamy. But
Yeah.
whenever they do focus on intimate moments with Alien, you can at that point you can tell it's like, no, this is actually like real. Like they're doing something here. It's only in the moments where it's like running away or like something like
Yeah.
that where it's like, okay, that's computer generated right there.
And that was what I was gonna say was that there's definitely some hokey effects. They're
Yeah.
minimal, but specifically the alien, I think one of the most frustrating things about it is when you compare it with these scenes where the alien is up close and you can see it, there's this drop in continuity between what the alien actually looks like. Because what you
And the
see,
size.
the size, yeah, what
Mm-hmm.
you see in the special effects looks nothing like what you're
Yeah.
seeing in.
Mm-hmm.
And, I think computer whizzes have gotten better at figuring out how to do continuity in that way, size continuity. So we don't
Yeah.
see that as much anymore, but it is pretty jarring, um coming from, or you know yeah, being kind of in this expectation of what cinema looks like and seeing it
Yeah.
there, and you kind of almost wonder, like, why did you include these scenes?
Well, I'm almost willing to bet that it had something to do with the clusterfuck of the production in this movie in general.
Yes,
I mean,
yeah,
this movie went
absolutely.
through like what 15 scripts before they
Yeah,
finally just were like, "Hey, do something, get it put together," you know.
yeah,
And Fincher, part of the reason why he refuses to talk about this movie is because of the horrific uh, experience he had working on it with the studio and various other factors going into it. But it wouldn't surprise me that they had to add those scenes with the really bad CGI because they either didn't get shot or
mm,
they didn't have the budget at that point, or they had to do who knows, like, or it was an added later by some studio exec. Who knows? Like, there's all sorts of ways that could happen. And it
yeah,
could have just been a bad decision by Fincher. I'm not gonna say he's perfect. Um, but I also know that this was his first movie, and I would not be surprised if it was outside of his ability to say no to.
sure, sure,
Uh, but yeah, no, it's rough. There's a
yeah,
couple of scenes that are rough. But I would say on the whole, like these are the most fully formed characters in my opinion. Like
mm-hmm,
even the random like sewer rats that are
yeah,
with Gallic, like you get a sense of like their personalities. Like
mm-hmm,
in the little bit that you see of them and the dialogue that they have between each other and Gallic and which speaking of Gallic, the actor who plays him is great. Uh he's in Luther, if you're a fan of that
oh,
show. Uh
okay,
he's
which
superb.
I'm sure we'll get back to Luther at some point later on.
No,
Huh.
no, not at all. Um
I will say, this is probably the last time in these movies where I felt like the characters their dialogue was worth listening to. With a few exceptions. There are a few exceptions. I will say, Fassbender talking to himself is interesting later on in Covenant, but for the most part, the script in this one is much more believable as far as like fleshed out third party characters.
Yeah.
I will say I do have it noted that this is probably the most underrated cast of the Alien movies. These, other than I think, yeah, you have Sigourney Weaver, but the next most famous name in this is Lance Henriksen, and he's not a very famous person.
He was mildly famous in the 80s.
Yeah, mildly famous in the 80s. He has cult status now, mostly for being in the Alien movies
and Pumpkinhead.
And Pumpkinhead. And there's some other B horror movies that he's been in,
and some sci-fi TV show that I can't remember what it's called. But
was he in like a Stargate
or something? Yeah, I don't remember which one it
something.
was.
But yeah, the rest of the cast, there's a lot of it's that guy from that thing.
Yeah.
There are a lot of
Charles S. Dutton, probably the only American in this cast outside of Sigourney Weaver.
Yeah.
And he is a baller in this movie.
No, he is great in this movie. And I actually he's so good that I was like, oh, he must be in a lot more stuff. And he's like
stuff, but
he's a working actor, but not, there was some like cop show that came up when I was like, oh, and that's his other most famous thing. But yeah,
Charles Dance.
Sure.
Who is he's the doctor.
He's the doctor.
Superb.
Yeah.
He's great.
Yeah.
I mean, but Postaway, who has a super minor role in this movie, but is one of the most recognizable faces outside of Willem Dafoe.
Yes. Yeah. No, I immediately recognized his face, but again, it was, it's that guy from that thing.
Exactly.
Right. Which is good, but what I think my point is, to the point that you just made, like, these characters and these actors really sell the monastery. They sell this prison, and with the exception of the first movie, the big actors aren't really all of these movies are stacked, like, except for this one, stacked, and we'll get into it with even Resurrection. Stacked cast. Cast. Probably the most stacked cast. But even like Prometheus and
typical 90s.
Yeah. But Prometheus and Covenant also, like, I rewatched Prometheus and I was surprised at how many like A-list actors are in it. And
because they're still early on in their rise too.
Yeah. And despite that, it's still, it still feels like stilted interactions.
Yeah.
For the most part. Yeah. And there are like good, some good people coming through and good acting coming through, but it's just not, it's inconsistent. Whereas this movie, everything kind of comes together. It feels like the cast is working as a team.
And it almost feels like these guys, like, even before they filmed the movie, like, spent a large amount of time together. Because they almost had their own, like, like internal language that wasn't always quite clear to the viewer, but like you got what they were talking about based on like the context.
Yeah. So, what do you think about how this movie continues on the story of Ripley and also concludes it?
I
We'll
think it's
caveat that a little bit later, but yeah.
I think it's the best conclusion. I think the drive, at least, okay, I'm gonna say this with a slight caveat because I don't think this was the intent of the original Alien, but because of Aliens and Alien 3, it became the intent of the franchise. Is that there's this ongoing discussion of Ripley as mother and Ripley as it being at one with the alien.
Mm-hmm.
And so the only way that I think you could ultimately seal off that thematic line is if she willingly dies at the behest of whoever whoever is around her in order to kill the alien.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way to get around it. So I think they made the right choice there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's a good through line. I think it's kind of stupid. I think there are much more interesting things that were brought up in Alien that could have been dealt with in more interesting ways in subsequent movies that were not touched.
Mm-hmm.
But with what they had, I mean, I think they did as good as they could do with kind of ending that arc. It gets carried on beyond this movie. Don't worry, it's not over.
Yeah.
even
Yeah.
even in the retconned pre-Alien Ridley Scott movies, this theme continues. So
Yeah, I think this movie this is kind of the first movie where things get philosophical and you start thinking more about those two, or those ideas too, and the through line. Alien, it was so self-contained to its benefit that you get to experience Ripley escaping and you think that's it, and that's the end of it.
Yeah.
And every movie after that is like, no, something always happens, something always brings her back, almost in kind of a mean-spirited way. And I was kind of struggling with this today
in a very stereotypical slasher way.
Yeah, I was definitely kind of struggling with that today, because it does feels very mean. Especially you have this girl, Newt, and I think you even had one of the Space Marines.
Yeah.
And they just are dead.
Yep,
They
they're just dead.
They just get in between the time that you were sleeping from the time that you were watching Aliens to Alien 3, these characters just get murdered,
Yeah.
And
which, by the way, James Cameron, if you're listening, I just want you to note that, having the Queen in Aliens and Ripley became a quote-unquote mother to Newt, we got it, dude. We see what you were doing. It was a little on the nose.
But I do like I like the finality of the ending. I like the idea of Ripley really kind of taking it into her own hands and saying, like, okay, no one is going to stop this. I have to stop it. And I just like that she gets to do it in front of the corpos and basically give them a big F you.
Yeah. Especially
that's
since
probably
they're using her android friend against her.
Yeah. This is an interesting point. Lance Henriksen shows up again at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Is he an android or is he not?
I mean, it would make sense if he was an android.
What do you think?
I don't think he was, but
yeah,
I think the guy he was probably the guy they modeled him after.
Yeah.
He seemed to have enough of an egotistical kind of like human spirit around him that, I mean, even Ash and Bishop and David and Walter, like none of them had that kind of like, well, I guess technically David does later, but they mean spiritedness to them.
So. Yeah. I forget. There's one other android, right? You didn't mention Winona Ryder's name. I forget her name.
That's because that's what we call a MacGuffin.
Yeah. No. That's definitely thrown in there just to be like, see, we got androids too.
Gotcha.
I think what throws me about Bishop 2 is that that's literally his name in the movie. Lance Henriksen plays Bishop 2. And so that just sounds like an android to me, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. No, I think it's this is the most, and I told a few people because there's some handful of my friends know that we're doing this series. They do not listen because they're horrible people, but
100%.
They knew that I've been watching the Alien series, and I told them that I think thematically Alien 3 might be my favorite of the franchise. Thematically.
Yeah.
As far as the actual like technical aspects of the movie, Alien still wins, but I think I would think more about Alien 3 than any of the other movies and the series.
Alien 3 has a more fleshed out, more interesting setting / story than Alien. Alien works because of what you're saying, the execution of it all.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I would not trust Ridley Scott to do Alien 3 justice, though.
No. Actually, you know, it's funny because you and I were talking about this on Discord a while, like earlier today. But I had brought up watching Reptile, which is a random Netflix movie that has Benicio del Toro in it, and started watching it. It's not bad. It's fine. Whatever. But I had brought up the point that it's kind of in that vein of like newly Fincher-inspired movies that have been coming out in the last few years. And I mentioned that probably the best of those movies was The Empty Man, which was by David Pryor, who worked with David Fincher on several movies. And so it's very strong. And David Pryor, I think David Pryor could make a hell of an Alien 3.
Interesting.
Even more so than Fincher himself.
Yeah.
Because I think David Pryor actually is interested in the questions going on in this movie.
That is interesting. I did watch The Empty Man. I don't think I liked it as much as you, but I did enjoy it quite a bit.
It has its problems. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But there is
Yeah.
enough like spark in it that I was like,
Mm-hmm.
this guy's doing something, and I like where he's going with it. And I think if
Mm-hmm.
he'd had either more budget or maybe more time or something, it could have
Yeah,
been tighter. But
that one also had weird production issues,
yeah,
right?
it did.
Yeah, so
Like it was made like 5 years before it got released, and like it was in
mm-hmm.
production hell for a while, and yeah, a lot of weird shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think he could do a hell of a reboot of Alien 3, and
Yeah.
it could be fun. But I'm also happy with just this one.
Yeah, no, I think this one's good. I think it gets unfair an unfair kind of reading from people who probably are basing it on the theatrical cut, and um it's
Well, and
also very, very different than the
yeah,
previous ones. Although I'll say it's very different, but I think it fits more in line with Ridley Scott's prequels than anything else, because
yeah,
it is asking bigger questions. It's asking more questions about the universe in general, and I think it
and
influences.
it does those things better.
Yeah, it
than
does.
Ridley Scott's.
It does those things better than Ridley Scott's. Although, and we'll get into it.
And it's specifically the religious aspects that it does better.
Yes, yeah. I don't think Ridley Scott has ever been to a church before in his life, but I do think he likes talking about people who go to church. So, which, yeah, if you've ever,
or just writing a line for the captain of a ship saying, "It's because they think I'm a psycho because I'm a Christian." That was my favorite.
yeah, no, and if you've ever seen Raised by Wolves, that was kind of a Ridley Scott inspired. It actually might even, I think there's some theory that it does kind of tie back to the Alien universe somehow, but it wasn't bad. It was fun, and there was some cool android stuff, but yeah, it's just when they got to kind of the talking about religion, there were these religious groups kind of warring with each other. It just it it didn't feel it felt very ignorant of anything. So yeah. But speaking of movies that completely sidestep that, except for the name, Alien Resurrection is probably the biggest. Okay.
This is the funnest movie of the series.
Yes.
I mean, it's batshit. It is absolute batshit, and it's written by Joss Whedon, so you shouldn't be surprised by that. But I can also see why that might be off-putting to people, because Joss Whedon has a shtick, and as Jamie said earlier, he's not a fan of the shtick. I'm not a fan of the shtick either. At least after Firefly and Serenity. I think this was the last thing he did that I was like, okay, I can kind of get on board with this. This is fun. But this is a stacked cast. I mean,
well,
they literally carted in piles of money to Sigourney Weaver for her to be in this movie.
Yeah.
And thank God they did, because this is the worst version of Ripley.
This is absolutely the worst version of Ripley. I
Although this
100%
movie
agree.
has the best scene, like my favorite scene of the Alien franchise in it.
Oh, you will have to tell me what that is.
Yeah,
Is it the basketball scene?
no, but that's funny. I do enjoy that scene. I think it's funny.
Yeah. No. Okay. So, Alien Resurrection is written by Joss Whedon, and I think that's what bothers me the most about this movie is every character feels like they're in a late 90s sitcom, and I ugh, it makes me cringe. I've never been one for Buffy, and I've never really gotten into
I never
Buffy.
got into it either.
That's not my thing. But some people really like it. So, I don't want to shit on it too much.
I like Sarah Michelle Gellar, but not in that.
Sure. Yeah, I like Sarah Michelle Gellar too. I like her in Southland Tales a
Yeah,
lot.
buddy.
Um, but yeah, but it's also directed by Jean-Pierre Jeunet, who famously did uh, uh, City of Lost Children, Delicatessen, and Amelie. And this is right after City of Lost Children. Super, super vibey with that movie. So I have you ever seen City of Lost Children?
Ask me how many of those movies I've seen.
Is it zero?
Yes.
Blake, I think you would like all of those movies.
Oh, I have no doubt that I've had Amelie on my list for years.
Yeah.
And I've yet to watch it.
Yeah. They're all very fun, and when you watch those movies, this movie actually makes a lot more sense from a visual perspective and well, from like a design perspective.
Gotcha.
The scenes where they're kind of looking at all the alien human homunculi, that's very, very much in line with things that he's done in the past. So,
Gotcha. Okay.
So it even like the weird kind of fun, gross vibes. It's fitting. I just Joss Whedon's dialogue bothers me, and even if it's coming from Ron Perlman, like it's still just I didn't love it.
Yeah.
But that being said, it's fun as hell. You get to see superpowered Ripley. You get to see, superhuman superhero alien. I think Kira watched it with me and she was like, "Oh, is this the Uric High of xenomorphs?" And I was like, "Yeah, I guess that makes sense." And stacked cast. Let me see if I can remember every single person who is in this.
From CSI.
Oh,
there's the girl from Beetlejuice.
There's the guy from Nope.
One guy. Yep. There's the guy from Nope. There's that guy from Hellboy.
The guy from Hellboy.
And then there's the guy from Clueless.
Yes, the dad from Clueless. There's the guy from there's the girl from Alien.
Yeah.
There's the guy from City of Lost Children.
Really?
Yeah, the guy in the wheelchair is actually a Jean-Pierre Jeunet regular.
That's hilarious. I didn't know that.
Hazel Motes is in this movie, aka Grima Wormtongue. And there's also the guy from Faults.
Yeah.
He's in this movie. So,
man, it's a stacked cast.
It is stacked. So, I would say it's probably the most stacked out of all.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
By far. Yeah, I really don't have a whole lot to say about this movie except that I really have a lot of fun watching it.
Okay. I'll give some criticism then. I think it continues on with this trend of starting Alien movies kind of from a mean standpoint.
Oh,
because
yeah.
it just immediately is like, oh yeah, they resurrected Ripley and they're pulling an alien out of her. So, it's not even really Ripley, but you're still like, they're creating this being, forcing it to have memories of trying to save the world from this alien, and then also recreating the alien that she was trying to kill.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, there's a level of, I mean, I feel like this movie takes that meanness to a new level in some ways.
Yeah.
Because, like you were saying, with the looking at the you monkey lie and like those are all versions of Ripley that they're looking at, and so it's like there's one that's like still alive that is like pleading for mercy,
Yeah.
death, and you it's really cringy, honestly, in the moment, because you're just like, oh, it's it makes the problem is that this thematic thread through these movies, it makes sense. Like those kinds of things make sense, and that's why I don't like that thread. Because it's always going to end up in those realms of exploitative visuals and topics, and so I don't think they're beneficial ultimately. So yeah, that was an element of the movie I was not a fan of. I think, but I also am curious to watch all of his other movies and to see like what his angle is on it, like what he thought he was doing over and against what the franchise itself is doing, and how those either intermingled or butted against each other. So I'm curious to see what that's like. But I will tell you my favorite scene though.
I was just about to ask.
She falls through the floor and she's laying there on a writhing bed of aliens.
Oh,
I think that is a terrific scene.
Yes.
Terrific, and it is thematically iconic.
Yes, and that is an iconic scene. Now that you remind me of it,
I don't think you see it very often, like in like pictures of Alien of any of the Alien movies. But I think it actually sticks with me more than most.
Yeah,
pictures,
it feels like falling into a room full of snakes, right? Except they're xenomorphs. Yeah.
And she recognizes that at that point, with what they've done with her character, she is one of them.
Yes. Yeah.
And so they've made, so Resurrection basically makes the full leap into, she's no longer just abstractly tied to the alien. No, she is a metaphysical alien now.
Yeah.
That is who she is, and she has made the full leap into like material reality. And so yeah, I mean, it makes sense. This honestly, the thematic elements of Resurrection track perfectly well within the franchise.
I will say, I have a couple notes. Thematically, maybe, but tonally,
Oh yeah, totally. No.
tonally, this movie, and you could even make an argument that there's a big tone shift between 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You know, one has the perfect pitch, the other sucks. But
And
no,
you
I
could make
think
the case that 1 and 3 are actually very similar in tone.
yeah. So no, so you have this switch of, of like serious to kind of goofy between 1 and 2, and then back to serious. But you know, ignore Aliens right now. I don't think that completely gets rid of the tone, but like the tone between 3 and Resurrection, 3 and 4, is
Is night and
so
day.
insanely different. It's interesting because I also think that this shows you the difference in tone between uh early 90s and late 90s too.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Because this movie fits perfectly with Independence Day, with
Yep.
with like the Matrix,
Mm-hmm.
and the 99 Godzilla movie. It has that same vibe
Mm-hmm.
of like it. I mean, it almost looks like they were filmed in the same place too, like the same sewer. You
Yeah.
know.
Well, and it's very cute in its meta-ness,
Mm-hmm.
which I have talked about in other places writing wise that this was the age of the postmodern meta narrative coming into the mainstream. And so
Mm-hmm.
there's all these cutesy little head nods in these movies to the audience saying, "Hey, you get it right," you know,
Yeah.
and drawing the audience into the screen like epistemologically. And so yeah, it's very of its time in that way. And I think
Yeah.
that's very much Joss Whedon's doing,
Yes.
because that's his shtick, and
Yeah.
he has never lost it, even though that whole kind of mentality has died out, thankfully.
Yeah.
So,
I did like. Didn't he do Cabin in the Woods?
yeah, I didn't care for that one either.
You didn't care for that one.
Yeah,
I liked that one. It was fun.
yeah, it
Sigourney
was
Weaver
fun.
is in that one too.
Yep, she is.
So,
Yeah, yeah.
um,
I'm notoriously against that movie.
ah, we'll have to, we'll have to watch it. We'll have to watch it. Maybe
Oh,
it doesn't hold up.
I feel like there's a series in our future where we just pick movies that we know we like, but we know that the other person does not like.
Yeah, I like that idea. I think with that movie, I don't love how it ends. Um, I
Yeah,
think that just is,
I think
you
that's
know,
why I don't like it. Is the way
yeah,
it ends.
no, and I can see that. I think at that point, I feel like that movie works as a slapstick comedy, and
Yes.
that's to me how I read it. And the ending doesn't feel serious to me at all.
Yeah.
So, and maybe that's, the wrong way of reading that movie. Who knows? But yeah. So that's where I come from. I want to add one more thing.
Is there a wrong way to read a movie?
Sure. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes. There are wrong ways to read movies, and I'm sure I've partaken. The last thing I want to say about Resurrection that I noticed is this is the first movie that introduces this idea of the iterative xenomorph, right?
hmm
Um, Maybe it's been hinted at previously with the xenomorphs kind of being different, but they all kind of do the same thing from 2 to 3, which is they start as a face hugger, they implant, and they burst out of your chest, and
hmm
then a xenomorph grows from that and murders a bunch of people. And James Cameron's movie introduced the concept of the egg layer, so the
hmm
queen.
Which is the best
But
part of the movie.
sure, yeah, and is probably, if you're into kind of tracking xenomorphology, is an important piece of that. But, and we'll get into this with Prometheus and Covenant, there's also a question of where the xenomorphs kind of came from. And Resurrection is the first movie to kind of mess around with the idea that these were quote unquote engineered
Yeah.
creatures, and talk about kind of the engineering aspect of these, even though it takes place the furthest in the future than any other
hmm
alien movie. So
which is interesting because if you think about it, of all the horror franchises, this one might have the most tight thematic thread of all of them.
yeah.
Because, and it's not by it was not intentional. It was dumb fucking luck that
Yeah.
they were able to make it this tight.
Yeah. So so, like, what did you think of Prometheus?
So I feel like we can almost talk about Prometheus and Covenant as one.
They're basically the same movie. It's just
Yeah,
Prometheus is better.
exactly. Yes. So the first time I saw Prometheus, I remember my thoughts were, I do not like this movie. The only good scene was when the alien bursts out of the chest of the Nordic socialist at the end.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Oh, yes. The very end.
the very end. Like the post credit scene that was prior to the credits.
Yes. Yeah. Well,
I
no, it's
that was my feeling, and I carried that. Kid you fucking not. To this viewing.
okay. Okay.
Like I expected to not like this movie, and to basically have come away with a similar, if not the same, viewpoint. And I actually ended up liking it more than I expected to. I thought there was more merit to it than I had originally thought. I actually thought the kills were way more interesting than what I remembered. Way more interesting than Covenant, which I
Yeah.
found to be basically just, what are all the cute, cheeky ways that we can take the original OG alien kills and turn them on their head?
Yeah. No, it's interesting you say that about Covenant, because I think I have it written down somewhere that um specifically the shower sex
Oh gosh.
scene, I couldn't believe that Ridley Scott, the man who, 40 years earlier or something like that, I don't know, how
hmm
many years has it been? Um
45.
almost, yeah, almost 45 years,
hmm
made Alien, was reduced to doing something so tropey and
Yep.
just stupid as that. Um, I will say though, Alien or Prometheus, despite Covenant's, kind of generic kills and kind of boring, rehash, Prometheus has one of my favorite horror scenes.
Oh, really?
Of the series.
Okay.
I think the cesarean section scene is brilliant, and I actually think it is incredible, and I think it's the second best alien coming out of a person scene
to the first one.
To the first one, the chest bursting scene.
Yeah. It is really good. It is very well done.
Yeah, and
terrifying, and the proximity and what's actually so I'm almost conflicted because I really do like that scene, but it also feeds into that same thread that I hate in this series. This whole you're a mother of and so is you're part alien, you're you got all these interesting things going on with like sexuality and gender and whatnot, and I'm like okay. But it is a really effective scene.
Yeah. No, I think it's effective. I think sure, it's tying it back to that, but it makes sense in the heat of the movie and what's going on right then. And I think it's it's fun because they did set up this. It's fun kind of knowing that scene exists because you see them kind of like do the setup for it ahead of time where they notice like in her room, oh, you have this I forget what it's called, but it's like a self-surgery bed or something like that. But yeah, so let's just get this out of the way. I am shocked with how Covenant doesn't do anything new, right? Yeah. Like it literally except for a little bit about David and Walter,
who is the best character of both films.
Yeah. Which is also kind of an interesting thing. Sure. Yeah. Like, okay, that's maybe what brings Covenant to this isn't terrible zone. Like, I actually am like, okay, this is fun. But the more I'm thinking about Prometheus and Covenant, the more I'm like, man, all of the beats of Prometheus are just repeated in Covenant. It really doesn't feel like a distinct movie.
Yep.
And that to me is just so disappointing. But it works for Prometheus. I think, it's fresh, it's new. Prometheus even looks better, and it was made earlier too. Covenant, the space scenes with Covenant look like Pixar movies.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
That's I'm sure those are good effects, but it doesn't work. It takes you out of it, at least for me, because it just looks like a cartoon. And it feels like that too. But Prometheus, I think works. I think it establishes an interesting interesting story about the engineers. I think it establishes an interesting character in Fassbender, David.
Yep.
He's interesting. Numi Rapace does a good job.
Yep.
And it has one of my favorite pickup lines of any movie, spoken by Idris Elba.
One of the
And
best.
yeah, I think there is a set of one person who could pull off the line, "Hey, I wanted to know if you're an android," and make it work as a pickup line. And that is Idris Elba. I don't think it works with anyone else, but he's able to pull it off.
It's that sly smile, man.
Yeah.
And even like not even the fake Southern accent got in the way. Like I was like,
Yeah.
I'm okay with this. I'm okay.
Yeah.
He's doing the typical bullshit Southern accent, but you know what? You do you, bro.
Yeah. Also, he has the only like positive representation of religion in
Exactly.
these two movies.
Yeah.
And it's just this scene where he immediately wakes up and he just makes a Christmas tree. And it's just so fun. And you're like,
Yeah.
all right, yeah, I
Yeah.
like this guy. But yeah, outside of those characters, outside of Fassbender, uh, Noomi Rapace's character, so Elizabeth Shaw, and Yannick, who's the captain and
hmm
played by Idris Elba, the characters are kind of trash. And
Yeah.
for to Prometheus's credit, the three that I listed are kind of like the main
The main
characters,
people.
at least Fassbender and Elizabeth Shaw. So at least you get to kind of spend more time with interesting people. But all of the side characters, man, they do not. I told you this. Prometheus is almost a great movie, but it has these just fucking dumb, annoying
Yeah.
side characters and interactions that don't make sense and unused people. And yeah, it almost brings Ridley Scott back to greatness. So,
Almost.
but
Almost.
almost.
Not quite. Yeah. Whereas Covenant, outside of Fassbender, is there a good character in that movie?
Tennessee is likable,
Yeah.
but
It's still
it
Danny McBride. Like he's being Danny McBride.
yeah, I think Danny McBride is I think what they're trying to do with Danny McBride, and they kind of tried to do this with Yannick too, is oh, I'm forgetting their character names, but in the original Alien, you have the two
Oh yeah, Harry Dean Stanton and
Harry.
Yaphet Kotto.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I
I
don't
I
remember their
think,
names either, but
but I think like Danny McBride is wearing. I think in one scene he's wearing a Hawaiian shirt even,
yeah,
and or some sort of like very kind of loose fitting. I'm a down to earth person. I
yeah,
think at one point he sings the John Denver song.
yep.
Um,
Country Roads.
yeah, Country Roads. So there's definitely kind of this I'm a union man
Yeah,
type vibe to him, which I think is references back to the
yeah.
Union
That's
Men
fair.
of the first movie. But he's not as likable as Harry Dean Stanton.
No,
Not in this
no.
movie at
Yeah,
least. And yeah, I think Covenant. It's basically him and David and Walter really
yeah,
kind of rounding out. And then you've got like Crudup, who you say you like
yeah.
normally,
I
but
generally like
he's
him, but he's horrible in this.
he's not good in this. I like Amy Seimetz a
Yeah, I do
lot,
too. Yeah,
but
but she got
they don't.
nothing.
She got nothing, and she gets toasted really early
Carmen
on. So
Ajogo.
yeah,
Carmen Ajogo is in this, and she gets jacked.
yeah. Um,
Uh,
you mentioned you don't like Waterston at all.
yeah, I don't. Yeah.
or Watterson.
Yeah. Yeah. Something just doesn't work for me with her, and it's not just so like I haven't seen anything in with her in it that I've really been like, she's good, like she's great. You know.
She's definitely the most ineffective. I mean, you have Sigourney Weaver and Ripley, and then Elizabeth Shaw, Noomi Rapace, and then you have Elizabeth Waterston, and so it's a tough act to follow, but
Yeah.
she definitely does not kind of meet that
And
level. So
and part of that may just be the script writing. It was just not. They didn't give her a whole lot to like
yeah,
make her indelible as a quote unquote final girl, because at this point that's basically what you are.
yeah.
So
Yeah. What do you think of the ending of this movie, of Covenant?
it's fine.
I think that's why I don't like this movie so much.
Okay. I could go either
Because
way. I just there's only so much I can care about when I'm watching that movie, and by that point I'm like, okay, whatever. I don't.
yeah, whatever. Whatever. But
But I mean, you if you don't know that that's David instead of Walter by the time that they get back on the ship, like something's wrong, because they telegraph that from like miles.
yeah. No, I mean you can see it, and I actually think that some of the scenes between Walter and David, basically their entire arc is kind of stilted because they want to pull
Yeah.
twist off. And so it could have actually been a lot more interesting if they weren't so much worried about doing this thing. But I actually think the ending is really mean. Again, getting back to this meanness, just to have like this final girl survive all of this
Yeah.
and save her ship, and then just as she's going into cryosleep, like have this revealed to her. It just feels it feels like Ridley Scott doesn't like his characters, which again I've talked about that being kind of a big turn off for me. So
no, I think that's fair.
yeah, so Covenant just doesn't do it for me. But yeah.
I don't really have a whole lot more to add outside of just one simple side comment: is Guy Pearce in old man makeup is not good.
Yeah, I don't mind it, but
I don't mind it because it's Guy Pearce and I love Guy Pearce.
But yeah, it doesn't do anything for me.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't really have a whole lot more to say in that outside of, I think, really what we've repeated before is really Scott doesn't understand religious affection of any sort, and so his mere like sub like surface understanding of religion and like his platitude bullshit that he puts in both of these movies is annoying, especially when you have Alien 3, which does it right and so well, and you're just like, where was that? Like, this could have been a really fascinating like exploration of like, what, okay, well, where does science end, faith begin, like what is going on here, because there's a lot more that could be explored in that space. Get it? Space. But yeah, it's nothing. There's nothing going on there, and so I think a good way maybe to end, because we're coming up on 3 hours, and I think this is a good segue, is what are your expectations for Romulus? Because Romulus is still pre-Alien.
This is No, it's not. It happens
it isn't?
between Alien and Aliens.
Ah, gotcha.
So, if anybody was trying to follow along with the timeline, Prometheus, Covenant, Alien, and then Alien Romulus, Aliens, Alien 3, and then Alien Resurrection. So, what are my expectations? Well, I think, remind me the director's name. It's
Alvarez.
Alvarez. Yeah. He did Don't Talk or Don't
Breathe.
Don't Breathe.
He did Calls, which was the Apple TV show.
Yes.
He did the Evil Dead remake, which was great, I thought.
Yeah.
I am less. I like Don't Breathe. I am less. I wouldn't necessarily recommend it.
Yes.
I love Calls.
Oh yeah, Calls is great,
and I think he knows what he's doing technically.
Mm-hmm.
But I've heard from a few people that I trust that this is it's really well made, but it's not anything to write home about.
So my expectation is probably isn't going to be Alien, right? It's not going to be Alien, but I expect it to be. I am not expecting it to get into anything deep. I'm expecting it not to try to it'll probably be very much on a ship, maybe some planet stuff, but very, very much, not kind of developing a whole world like Prometheus tried to do.
Yeah.
I'm sure there will be some mention of an android, but I doubt it will worry about the same types of things that Ridley Scott wanted to explore with David and Walter. I think it's going to be a pretty efficient horror movie. So I think I'm guessing it's going to have more in common with Aliens and Alien Resurrection than any of the other movies.
I think that's fair. Fair. But I would also add that it's probably going to be like you said, more in line, not necessarily in tone with Aliens and Alien Resurrection, but it's going to be, I guess you could say, more. And once again, I'm pulling really shitty word choices here because I don't actually mean these, but playful. And it's more he's more concerned about horror than he is about sci-fi.
Yeah. Sorry,
and so,
did I say Aliens? I meant Alien.
Gotcha.
Alien and Alien Resurrection. I don't think it's gonna feel like Aliens at all.
Yeah, no, he's not. I don't think he doesn't strike me as someone who would make an action movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think it's what. So one of my good friends is probably the one I trust the most with watching and giving me his thoughts on alien movies. Said that he came away underwhelmed and perhaps even disliked the movie because it was trying so hard to be Alien. In tone. And it it didn't trust itself to be its own thing. Now, that is coming up against my general enjoyment of Fede Alvarez as a director, so I'm curious if I'm going to agree with him on that or not. So
it'll be interesting. It's been 30 years since we've gotten an actual xenomorph. So it'll be interesting to see if there's an actual xenomorph on this.
Well, they say there is. They apparently had a picture of it in like some mall somewhere, like as part of promotional content. So
all right,
it's got a slightly different look than because that's the new thing. You got to make it look just a little different.
Yeah, but I think that's true. I think Alien 3 was the last actual xenomorph. I think Resurrection, it was whatever. Whatever.
Swimming, flying, whatever.
Oh man, you reminded me of the swimming scene.
Yeah. It was a choice. Let's just put it that way.
It was a choice. I was like, no one is holding their breath this long. Let alone 7 people, Yeah. So, but yeah, Prometheus didn't really have a xenomorph. It had, I think they were.
End.
Well, even that, like the mouth is different, right?
Yeah.
It's not as well formed. And I scoured the Reddits a little bit, and I guess in Prometheus and Covenant they're called protomorphs.
Oh.
I know. Whatever.
That's getting into the range of fandom that I do not enter into, because I'm like, it's at the end of the day, it's a fucking movie, man.
It is a movie. Yes. No, I'm with you, Blake. I can't follow these conversations, and yeah. But yeah. Anyway, so before we wrap up, we've watched 6 Alien movies. Can you give me your ranking?
Okay. Yeah, I can. Alien 3. Prometheus, barely. Alien Resurrection, Covenant, and Aliens.
Well, I am going to give you my ranking, but it's going to be really boring because it's exactly the same ranking that you just said.
Well, and I almost put Resurrection above Prometheus, but I was like, I just can't fully do it.
I was going to say, if you had done that, that would have been our only, because I don't even like, I think at the end of every day, I'll put Prometheus in my 3rd spot. I think it's the third. I do think it's the 3rd best of these. But Resurrection is fun, and it's better than Covenant. And
but to tell you the truth, if you gave me the choice between Prometheus and Alien and Resurrection to watch again, I'm gonna choose Resurrection every time.
Well, sure. I think if there were 2 channels on, and one of them was showing Prometheus and one of them and it's a Saturday afternoon, sure, I'm gonna watch, Resurrection. So it's definitely a better matinee movie.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, I'm proud of us for covering 4 movies.
Dude, 4 movies, 1 episode. An hour and 15 of bullshit.
Yeah. I mean, it's impressive how much bullshit we pulled this time.
We did it.
Yeah. And not only that, but how far apart the bullshit is from the main discussion of the movies. Like you couldn't get much further apart.
Are you sure? There was how much CCM do you think was in the Alien movies?
Little.
Was there any? There was what music was in the Alien movies? So Country Roads. Alien 3 has that one song.
Oh yeah, the chant, almost like the call and response that the guy
N-
is singing in the like the vent system before he gets killed.
Yeah, but it's the in the year 2525 song. Which is a very fun, goofy song.
Uh-huh.
But it's so weird to hear it show up in Alien 3.
And how not goofy it almost comes off in that movie.
Oh yeah, it's the weirdest fucking version of that song. And that song is already a weird fucking song, so
it is.
yeah.
Yeah. That is hilarious.
Yeah. I don't think there's any Christian music.
That fucking John Denver's full of shit. To call back to Dumb and Dumber. Well, this means that the next episode will be our Halloween series.
Oh yeah, we'll get together and record that.
Oh yeah.
Those
will be shorter episodes, but we'll also, in theory, be releasing them weekly, as is our typical mode during October.
Do we want to give our listeners a little preview on what that's going to be?
I don't know. Do we?
Yeah, we're gonna.
I think specifically the final episode is going to be a banger.
Yes. So, the plan is to watch Osgood Perkins movies, and this is because we both really, really like Osgood Perkins, and it's his year. He released Longlegs this year, so
to great acclaim from just about everybody. I don't think I've heard a single negative thing said about it.
Yeah, so we're just gonna celebrate him. Good horror, spooky horror, weird horror.
For those of our listeners who are counting, though, that's only 4 movies.
Yeah,
we'll do 5 Thursdays in October. So what does that mean for our final episode? Because we can't fill up 5 episodes with 4 movies. That's mathematically incorrect.
Yes, by the pigeonhole principle, Blake, we have to have another pigeon, is what you're saying.
Exactly.
For our pigeonholes.
Or our pigeons. What are our pigeons the 5th week?
The 5th pigeon will be something related to Osgood Perkins. Yeah. Oh, pigeons. Yes.
We're sticking a bunch of pigeons in that 5th hole.
This is true. That's actually what you're not supposed to do with the pigeonhole principle.
Only you know.
Yeah. But we are going to be watching the Psycho movies because
including Gus Van Sant.
Yes. Are we going to watch all of them? There's like we'll watch as many as we can.
Not the TV show.
But the reason being is that Norman Bates was famously played by Anthony Perkins, who is Osgood Perkins' dad. So there's the connection there. So that'll be fun. I think that'll be a really fun Halloween
because I don't think I've seen any of the others except for the original.
I've seen Psycho, and I haven't even seen the remake of Psycho.
I haven't either. So this will be fun. And we're going to do all of those. We're going to watch them all for the final episode.
Yeah, I think there's 2 sequels.
Yeah, I think Psycho. It's 2 and 3. And then there's the remake. for the
Then there's
reboot
the
or
remake. Yeah.
But I heard that Demetrius was saying that there's actually something pretty interesting about the remake. It's not like a actual like it's scene for scene. Remember when it first came out, like everyone was talking about it being scene for scene, but it sounded like Demetrius was saying that there's some kind of commentary going on in the movie that I'm like, huh, okay, I'm down.
You know, Gus Van Sant
He doesn't just do shit to do shit. Like
he doesn't just do shit to do shit. You're right. And I think this was his follow up to Good Will Hunting, right?
yeah, which is
So
a good
yeah,
pick.
yeah.
All right, well, that'll tease what's coming up.
Yeah. With that, bye.
Bye.